I'm doing it now. Are you sure you want to start streaming the event? Yes. So it should start appearing on there.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yes.
Yes? Okay. So, hi everyone, we're just going to do a little bit of testing just to make sure everything's working, and then we'll start the session. So I'll just look at this and just make sure. Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. So hi everyone, thanks so much for coming along to this online induction. My name is Ski Oakenfull and I'm the head of curriculum here at Point Blank.
And I'm
sorry.
And I'm Brian Black and I'm program coordinator here at Point Blank.
Fantastic. So we're going to take you through the VLE, virtual learning environment. It's essential that you get to know it really well because as you are online students, that's going to be your primary tool for studying your courses. And the VLE is, well, there's lots of things you can do with it. It's a way to access your course notes. So week by week, you'll be reading through your course notes and also watching the tutorial videos on the pages. You'll be able to watch your weekly masterclasses and also book your one-to-one sessions, which happen, there are 5 of those for each module, happen in weeks 2, 4, 6, 8 and 11, and you'll be able to book your sessions through the VLE. Also, you'll be able to submit your assignment work through the VLE, and I'll take you through that in a bit. So we'll look at the submission pages. And also communicate with your instructor and your classmates. So this will be very important. So we have things like the forum. You can message your classmates and your instructor as well. So this is an informal session. And if you have any questions, please post them in the chat area. And Brian will be monitoring that. And we'll stop now and then to kind of answer some questions. So yeah. Hopefully we'll be able to cover all of those. So yeah, I'm going to start off with this session by looking at the VLE, taking you through that, and then after that Brian will walk you through the assignment submission process. And also, it's worth noting that we're going to be archiving this session, so we'll be putting it onto the VLE, so you'll be able to watch it back later. So yeah, I think we should get into this. I'm just going to move the mic a little bit away. I'm not shouting too much. Okay. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to log in. I've got a dummy student account here. So I'm sure you've probably done this already now that you've enrolled, but I'm just going to log in. So let's just type this in. There we go. Click on login. Great, so where it said login, now that's turned to My Home. And if I just hover over that, you'll see these menu items here. We've got Study Essentials. You probably won't see My London courses, but you will see My Online courses. And then you've got Edit Profile. So these are the main sections, and you can either go directly to them just by clicking on them, or you can click on the actual My Home word, and then you'll bring up this here, and you'll see on the left hand side there's this sort of big icon here. This is your avatar, which you can actually update yourself. So let's go straight to the edit profile section. I'd thoroughly recommend that's the first place that you go. So I've clicked on that, and this is where you can upload your avatar. So why not have a go at that ourselves? Let's have a look. Let's see if I can find something that's usable. That's quite, maybe not. Here we go. Let's try that one. There we go. So it's uploaded my picture. That was me at Sonar Festival last year.
Oh, lovely.
Okay, so but you know, please upload a picture of yourself. It's very, very important because your classmates will be able to get a good idea of who they're studying with then. So then you just put in your details, your name, make sure that's all up to date, your date of birth, email address. Now, very importantly, you need to set your time zone. You can see I've set that to GMT, Greenwich Mean Time, London. That's because I'm in London. If you're in Australia, set it to Australia time. If you're anywhere in the US, make sure it's the right time zone. This is really crucial because when it comes to booking your one-to-ones or getting notifications about your masterclass time, it will adjust to your time zone. And if you don't set it, you'll potentially be missing things. So that's very, very important. So please make sure that's the first thing you do. We've got the notifications section here. Now it defaults so that you basically get all notifications about everything, and I would recommend as an online student that you keep all of those checked just to make sure that you don't miss out on anything. If you really feel that you want to tone it down a little bit, then you can uncheck some of them, but I would definitely make sure that you certainly like getting email notifications when you get new messages is really important. So try to keep that all open. And you can change your password if you need to there, and then when you've done all that, make sure you click on submit, and then that will update all those details. So that's that section. Let's go back to My Home again, and we're going to look at another really, really important section, and this is Study Essentials. So from the moment that you are enrolled and you can log in, you'll have access to this area, which is the Study Essentials area. And this is essentially foundation curriculum for you. I'm sure that you're all really keen to get studying, and this is a great place to start because these are, it's a combination of tutorials about how to use the VLE, which we'll go through in a minute. But there's also some sort of foundation basic content to kind of get you going and up and running. For example, on Logic Pro, on Pro Tools, Ableton Live. So there's loads of great content there. Some of it maybe not completely relevant to the program that you're on, but still there's some great stuff. So have a look at that. We'll come back to that in a minute, but just so that you're aware of that area. I'm going to go back to My Home again. And let's go to My Online Courses. So this is where you need to go to actually access the modules that you're on. And what you have here is a list here. This student, or this dummy student, is actually on a BA program, so you can see all the modules that are listed, past and present. Where it's orange, just there where it says 2nd of July, that indicates the fact that it's the current term, or the term that's we're on now, and then you can see the previous terms and then the forthcoming terms as well. And in order to get into the module, you just click on it, and then you can access the course notes and all the tools that are relevant to that particular module. So we'll come back to that. I just want to go back now to the Study Essentials, and I'll access it directly from this menu. Before we carry on, let me just check, are there any important questions at the moment?
No, no questions.
Right.
Just let us know where they're from.
Okay, fantastic. So just going back to the Study Essentials, I would thoroughly recommend looking at this module here, Essay Writing Essentials. So let's click into that. Now, certainly if you are an accredited student and you are on a BA program, you really need to make sure that you understand how to write an essay properly and to know about how to prepare, how to research, how to proofread, how to do correct, proper Harvard referencing. There's information and tutorial videos about that here. So let's click on plagiarism, for example. You'll see here there's a video you can watch, plus there's an actual test as well. So I thoroughly recommend that you take a look through that. Certainly if you want to make sure that you do really well with any of the assignment components that are related to writing an essay. Going to go back to Study Essentials again. And the next one I would thoroughly recommend that you check out is the Using the VLE section. And that's what we're going to be looking through now. I'm going to take you through that, and we'll look at the aspects of the VLE. So I'm just clicking on that one. There's two different ones. There's one for London students that are studying here on campus, and then one for you, the online students. They're essentially the same, but there's just a few differences. So yeah, let's get into that. I'll just have a quick pause for breath.
I've got a question.
You've got a question, okay.
Tracy has asked, she has Ableton Live 9 intro. Will she need to upgrade prior to starting the course?
I would recommend it, yes, because even though there will be some projects that are still available for Ableton Live 9, I would say that you're going to get the maximum benefit from if you do update. We've actually just recently completely updated our ITP Ableton module to Live 10. Yeah. So everything that you'll be watching, all the videos will be in Live 10, so I would recommend it. And just contact someone or email support and they'll be able to help you with that. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Is it relevant for the mixing electronic music course? I guess that's in relation to Ableton. That question's from Miguel.
Right, okay. I think that that's maybe not so crucial. I think that, you know, any mixing tasks that you have to undertake, you'll be downloading stems, so they're not specific to any DAW, they'll just be audio stems, so you could mix it. And actually, I think most of the videos have been made in Live 9, so you won't be missing out on anything if you have got Live 10, but I think you would be able to take the course if you've got Live 9, so it should be fine. Okay, anything else for the moment?
Just that at the moment, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So we're using the VLE study essentials. So let's go to this section here, introducing the VLE, and I'll just click on that page. So there is actually an online induction masterclass from earlier in the year. So if you could watch that, we'll probably be replacing it with this one, but you can watch that. Let's just click through these pages. Next one is about free software license information. You can find out if you're eligible for any free software. You can either call someone in the office or you can email support@musicschool.com and they'll get back to you about that. This is information on how to complete this guide. So it tells you about the 3 different sections, and you'll also see that there, now and again, you'll see like a task box, which is just directing you to do a certain task on the VLE, and that will just hopefully help you navigate the VLE and familiarise yourself with it. There's an introduce yourself section. Now you only need to do this once. It's just a little kind of questionnaire. Please do that so that we can get a better idea about you and hopefully tailor any of the content towards you. So please fill that out. So we've logged in already. This is called logging into the home page, and I've gone through this already. I've talked you through the study essentials and my courses and the edit profile. If you just do want to go back on that, this just gives you that information. So, but we've already gone through that. And I think what I'll do now is I'll actually go to one of the courses, and we can actually kind of look at some of the VLE tools. What I'll do actually, I'll just click back on my home, and I'll just shoot over here and go to the study essentials so that I can refer back to where we're at. So just give me a second. Right, there we go, the classroom. Great. So we'll go to my online courses, and let's go to a module from last term. Let's go to sound design. I'm just clicking on that, and that's taking me into essentially the classroom from a module that happened last term. So let's have a look at, first of all, at the areas so we can navigate the page. Now, one thing about the VLE is that from the start of this year, there was a major update which made it mobile responsive. And that basically means that the content that's displayed on the page adapts to whatever device you're looking at on. So whether that's on your computer, on a laptop, or on a mobile device such as an iPad or a phone. So if I just resize the window, you can see that some of the menu items will change. There we go. So that's sort of as if you were looking on a mobile phone. I'm going to make it full screen again. Now the main areas, or the main menu sections, there's one on the right here. If I click on that, this is where you access the syllabus. So we'll have a look at that in a minute. And then on the left hand side, these are the VLE tools. And basically when you resize the window to make it small, or you watch it on a mobile device, those two come together and they both go on the right hand side. So very ingenious way of adapting the size of the VLE. So let's look at the syllabus. And I'm going to click on that menu item there. Now currently you're in what we call week 0. So the course is starting next week, and it will be week 1 next week, and you'll have access to the course notes on a week-by-week basis. So that means you can't jump ahead and suddenly read week 5's course notes even though you're in week 1. We want you to properly absorb the course notes and not just race ahead. And it just means that everyone is at the same level and learning at the same pace. So that's why we've got that. Now, in week 0, you'll be able to see this content here, module information and assessments. Now, if I just click on this plus button, that will open up a list of the pages in this section. And there are various functions here. You can favorite pages by just clicking on the little star there. So say I wanted to favorite those pages, and then if I click on this sort of filter icon here, this will only then show you the favorite pages. So that's a useful function. Now, if I just wanted to see a list of those on the main page, on the central pane, I can just click on that menu item, and then we'll see the list of pages here. So let's go through these pages. Now, I think it's really important that you look for every single module you're on. In week 0, you go through these pages because it will give you an overview of what you're going to be studying, and that will really help you pace your learning and know exactly what to expect. So let's click on the module narrative. This is the same thing that's listed in your program handbooks. If you are an accredited student, you're on any of the higher education programs, then this will be the same thing that's listed in there. And this will basically give you the aims of the module, the learning outcomes, and just a brief overview of the assignment schedule. So you can see here that there are 3 components to this, and you'll be able to see the percentage weighting of those as well. We'll have a look at the briefs in a minute. The learning outcomes, now this is crucial because the learning outcomes set out the knowledge and the understanding and also the skills and the competencies that you'll be expected to learn and master by the end of the module, and you'll also be assessed on those learning outcomes as well. So please have a look through those. I'm going to click through to the next page now. This is the program levels. So again, if you're an accredited student, this gives you an idea of what level you're on, and Bryony will talk later about how that affects your assignment grades and your progression through the program as well. And you can download a diagram of that. You could laminate it if you want. You could stick it on your wall.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Great idea.
Very good. Next page is the recommended reading list. Please have a look at this because it's really important, if you can, to do some reading around the course notes and the studying. Any kind of extra reading you can do is definitely useful. So please have a look at that. Going to keep going through here.
Can I just put in?
Sure.
Summer has just said that she doesn't have access to the module information or assessment section yet. Is that a mistake, or did we get it? We're in week 0, aren't we now?
We're in week 0. Yes, if you can email support and we can check you through, there may be some kind of problem with the login maybe, I'm not sure, but you certainly should be. I don't know if anyone else is watching this can confirm that they have access. That would be very useful, but let us know and we can go through that with you. So what I'm looking at now is an assessment brief or assignment brief. So we saw earlier that there were 3 different components. Now it's really important that you read through these, because even though you're not going to have to start right now, you'll have a really good idea of what's coming up. So this is the first component, and it's the portfolio of 5 synthesized sounds. You can see when the deadline is, so it's the end of week 9, and you can also see what the weighting of this. So this is actually worth 50% of your final grade, and you'll be able to read through the brief to see what's coming up. You'll also see which learning outcomes this assignment component is testing you on. And also there's a submission checklist here. So this is something to make sure that you're actually submitting the correct thing. We don't want you to miss logic or an Ableton file or just a sound or a sample or a patch or something that's then going to go against you when it comes to the instructor marking you, because your instructor won't be able to evidence all the great work that you've done. There's also a link here, the assessment grading criteria. Now if we click on that, this will give you an idea for each component about what you're being marked on. So please have a look at that, and that will help you make sure that you're concentrating on the right aspects with your work, the right things. And it also gives you here a little note here where to upload. So we can go through, you can see all the components, have a good read through those, and we always say please don't leave all your assignments to the last minute. Don't start working on them in the submission, the deadline week, in week 9. Your instructor will be able to take you through that. You'll be having your regular one-to-one Skype sessions. So your first one will happen in week 2. If you read through your assignment briefs and you realise that there's something you don't understand, or you're particularly worried or concerned about anything, that your chance to actually talk to your instructor is in your one-to-one session. So please have a chat about that with him there. So that's what you'll be able to see in week 0. I just want to quickly go back to my home, my online courses, because there's something I missed actually in the list here, which is the student information section. And this is something that you'll have access to now as well. And there's some great stuff here. There's a start here. You'll be able to see a nice introduction video by me. And you'll be able to see have access to your program handbooks, your academic calendar, the student support and guidance. And I just want to let you know about this, the personal schedule. This is very useful because this actually provides you with a downloadable timetable, so you can actually see term by term which assignments you've got and what the deadlines are. And again, you can download them, print it out, laminate it, put it on your wall, you can blow it up, project it, you could do anything with it. So please check out that area. I'll just quickly remind you where that is. My online courses, and just in the student information section here. There's also policies and regulations as well. You might want to check those out in case there's anything you want to look at there. So there we go. So that's week 0. So next week you'll be able to see your first week of course notes. So you can see here, first week is component parts of sound. So there'll generally be an introduction page, which will just give you a brief overview of what's coming up, remind you that there's a masterclass and a one-to-one session for next week, and then you can just scroll through the pages and read them through at your leisure. And this is basically a mix of text, there'll be some sound examples, there might be a discussion topic, And of course there'll be tutorial videos as well, lots of links. So there's loads of great content, and this is what you'll be studying alongside your masterclass which happens. So basically this is where you can access your course notes. So yeah, there we go. Any more questions at this point?
Yes, Adil has said, is the recommended reading list books and sources that we have to find outside of the actual course?
Yes.
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 So it's just recommended reading? It's
recommended reading.
Compulsory.
Yeah. It's not compulsory, but it's recommended if you just want to, I mean, certainly if you're an accredited student, you're on a BA programme, a major part of that is your independent study, and any extra reading you can do or studying you can do around the course notes that we're providing, it's thoroughly recommended, because potentially you're going to get a better grade in your assignments. So, and it's also something that you can, if you find a particular topic you want to expand on and discuss with your instructor, you can then take that to your one-to-one session and talk about that with your instructor. So.
And Rich has a good question. He said, if typically the submission is due week 9 of the module, by which week will you, on average, have learned enough content to begin working on the assignment?
It really depends on what the learning outcomes are for that particular assignment and how comfortable you feel with the content. You know, we totally understand that students come in to some of these modules at different levels. And it may be that you already had some experience with Logic or Ableton, for example, and that you feel comfortable to be able to start your assignment. Obviously, you're not actually able to submit it until the deadline week. So, but if you feel comfortable and confident that you can complete your work, then by all means do it, because especially if you're studying other modules alongside it, you know, there's quite a lot to do. So, yeah, go for it. But again, maybe you can speak to your instructor about that as well, and get his opinion or her opinion on how they feel, if they feel that you're ready to kind of do your work. So.
Another question relating to the recommended reading. Do you guys know how many of those books are available digitally? No. Well, I mean, we have actually got a library section. I think that is the library section of the VLE is for our London students. I will check that though, because I think there are some links to digital versions. But I think it's quite easy just to kind of go in and do a search, and you should be able to find out if it is available digitally. Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple more. M20 Beats said, will I need to be using Ableton a lot? I've only used Logic before.
Well, you should have chosen, you should have been given the option to choose a Logic or an Ableton pathway. So if you've chosen a Logic pathway, then you'll be you'll be having access, for example, to ITP Logic. But actually, many of the courses are cross-platform now, Logic and Ableton. So you can actually, there'll be course notes on Logic and Ableton. So it's only ITP and also Creative Audio. But you can actually switch if you want to. You can switch. So I think, yeah, but that's something you'd have to contact support about.
Perfect. And then Boris has said, how many hours per week do I need to put in to get the maximum value out of a module?
Right.
I mean, I know we recommend 10 hours minimum.
Yes.
But obviously it depends on the student how much they want to put into their studies. Yes,
I would say. I mean, I think that's a good ballpark. But I mean, you know, obviously online study, it's flexible, and you know, we understand that you may have jobs or family or other commitments. But obviously, the more more hours you can put in, the more you're going to benefit from it. So, and that's not just reading the course notes and watching the tutorial videos. It's also interacting with your classmates and going into the forum. You know, there's a lot you can get, you know, from sort of peer feedback. You know, I'll look at that in a minute, but the forum is great because you can actually share projects with each other and you can get feedback from your peers. So, you know, yeah, it's there to get the maximum amount of benefit if you can.
Yep.
Okay?
I think that's everything.
Great. So, we've looked at the syllabus, this section here. We're now going to go over to the VLE tools. Actually, before we do that, sorry, I'm just going to
just see if there's a week. I'm just want to say that there are some weeks where there are downloadable resources. On this particular module I can't see any, but they normally come at the start. Here we go. So in week 7 you'll see for sampling, drum designing, contact and battery, there's a page here which says downloadable resources, and if I just click on that you can see that there's some breaks that you can download that are specific to that week. Right, let's go to the VLE tools. So this is the left-hand menu item, and there's a number of different things here. There's the schedule section, assignments, there's the announcements, the one-to-one tutorials, the masterclasses, the messages, the forum, the class list, and there's a print section. And I think while we're still on the syllabus section, we've been looking at the pages. Let's just quickly show you the print section, because this actually allows you to print the pages save the pages in PDF format. So maybe you just want to download them all in one kind of file, and then you can put them onto your iPad or whatever, and you can read them through. Say if you knew you were going to be offline for a while. So if you click on that, and you'll be able to print all the pages out. I'm pretty sure if you just go to a page, then that will give you the option. Yeah, you can then save the page as a PDF or the entire week. So there you go. So let's start off on the schedule section. So this is essentially your landing page. When you click on the module title in your module list, this is the first page that you'll go to, and you'll see that this course is actually finished, but there'll be notifications here, and there'll be a calendar as well. And there are various icons. So this little sort of chat icon is where there's a one-to-one tutorial. If you just hover over any of the days, it will tell you which week you're on, what the title of that week is. You can see here these icons are the assignment component deadlines as well. So this is a really good way just to sort of get an overview of where you're at within the course. So let's go back here. Assignments. So this is a sort of shortcut really. This is a bit weird because it's not entirely representative of how it will look because it's a dummy account. But this is where you'll be able to access your assignments and submit your assignments. And what these actually are links to pages in that particular week, in the submission week. So actually, if I go to week 9, which is where the deadline for those components, you should be able to see at the end here, assessment component 1 submission page, component 2 submission page, component 3 submission page. And if I click on that, you'll be able to see that assignment brief we were looking at, and then there's a way to upload your assignment. This is actually overdue at the moment, which is why we can't see it. Let's try going to a course from this term, and let's just see if we can see it there. Let's just see what this says. Let's go to the assignments. Just open that up. Okay, so that's not actually showing it there. So you can see, because this is a forthcoming course module, I can't access any of these weeks at the moment. So let's just go back to the one that we were on. Let's go back to sound design. But from next week, if you click on that assignments, you'll be able to see, you'll be able to click through to the assignment submission page and upload your assignments there. It's also where you'll access your grades as well. You'll be able to see when the grades have come through, so it'll give you an idea of how well you've done. Announcements. So these are announcements that either your instructor or any member of staff from Point Blank in the office, including Bryony, anyone from the program admissions team, will be able to post an announcement, and if you have your notifications set, you'll also get an email notification of those announcements. So for example, there's one here which is importance resubmission reminder. You can see here that Dan Herbert, the instructor here, has done an announcement about the masterclass.
There we go. And this is a one-way process, so you can't actually respond to this. So that's why it's generally for really important things. So please keep a lookout for those. And you can see there at the top here where it says notifications, you'll also get a notification saying that there are 2 unread announcements and a forum post as well. So that's where you can access those. One-to-one tutorials. So as I've mentioned before, and you can see here, your one-to-one Skype sessions happen in week 2, 4, 6, 8 and 11. And what will happen is that your instructor in the week before the one-to-one week will post a series of slots that you can book on a first-come, first-served basis. So from week 1, from next week, you'll be able to book your slot for the next week in week 2. So please get in there quick. There should be a wide range of time slots, so it should take into account whichever part of the world you're in. So that's where you can book your slots. And there'll be a link to your instructor. So if I just go to the class list here, I'm just going to click on that. There we go. So I've just sort of fast-tracked a little bit to this page, but you'll see there's an icon, and if you click on that, that will actually take you through to Skype, and you'll be able to directly Skype your instructor. Just going back to the one-to-one section, you'll also be able to upload any content or contact your instructor ahead of the one-to-one section. There we go, upload here. So it's very much led by you. It's up to you how you want to make the most of the one-to-one session. So like I mentioned before, if you wanted to discuss your assignments, or if you just wanted to talk about any of the content for that particular week or the previous week, or even just upload one of your own projects to get some feedback on it, this is the place to do it, and this is where you can upload your files. So your instructor, before the one-to-one session, will be able to download your projects, and they'll be able to give you feedback on your projects. So it's very, very important that you make the most of these sessions, because it's just you and your instructor, and you can discuss exactly what you want to discuss. So please do that, and let us know if you have any problems with that. Then contact your instructor. So of course it's important that you have Skype installed, and that you have your account set up, because this will be your way of carrying out the one-to-one sessions. Any questions?
I think you've already just answered one of them.
All right.
But also, for the Mixing Electronic Music course, it's recommended to have the Waves Grandmaster bundle. Is that still the way to go?
It's not essential, but yeah, no, you don't need it, because it's all, right, we call it transferable skills. So obviously Waves plugins are fantastic, as are UAD plugins as well, but there's no reason why you can't carry out and do your assignment work using native Logic or Ableton plugins. But if you have got Waves, then that's great. There might be a discount, I'm not sure, on Waves plugins.
It rings a bell.
It does ring a bell. Contact support about that, and they'll be able to let you know. But if you've got them already, then great. Okay?
I think that's it.
Okay. One-to-one, so we've covered that. Masterclasses. Okay, so the masterclasses happen once a week, so they'll be happening, you'll be having one next week, and your instructor will actually post some slots, some possible slots that you can vote on. Obviously we understand everyone's spread around the world, so it's going to be difficult for some people to attend them, but that's why we have a voting process. They should propose a range of slots in different times, and whatever's the most popular slot that's voted for, that will then be set as the masterclass time. Now, if you can't attend it for any reason, don't worry, because it will get automatically archived, and you can see here you've got previous masterclasses, and you'll be able to go in and watch your masterclass back. Also, if there's something that you specifically want to be discussed in the masterclass, you can post that in the forum. I'll show you that in a minute. Your instructor should post a thread ahead of the masterclass saying if anyone's got anything to discuss, please post it here, and then that will get covered. So don't feel that if you can't attend the masterclass, then maybe your voice isn't being heard. You can actually request for something to be covered in the masterclass. So please do that. And in order to access the masterclass, when it's live, it will go green, saying live. And you can click on this section here, and this is where it will appear. And there's a little chat area, just as there is with the YouTube at the moment. You can actually text chat. You can chat amongst your classmates, and also post direct questions while it's live as well to your instructor, who's monitoring it, and will then be able to answer any questions live. And if I just go back to this section, this is where you can access the previous masterclasses. So let's just go back onto 2nd of May. There we go. And you can either download the video or you can watch it live. Let's see if we can do that. There we go. There's Dan. Dan Herbert is a fantastic instructor. He's been at Point Blank for a long time. He's an expert in many areas. And you'll be watching lots of his tutorial videos if you're on any of the sound design courses. So yeah, those are the masterclasses. So book your time, well, not book, vote for your time slot, and if you can attend the masterclasses, then please do that. Let's keep on going. We've got messages. So this is a way of, if you wanted to send a direct message to any of your classmates, you can click on new message, and then you can click on this little icon here, and you can send a message direct to your instructor or any of your classmates here, well, with the subjects and some text. So please use that function.
Can I just ask a quick question?
Sure.
Is it compulsory to communicate via Skype?
As opposed to any other method?
I'm guessing.
Right. Skype is the way to communicate. Yeah. And the reason is because, and I forgot to mention this actually, is that the one-to-ones are recorded. Okay. So your instructor will actually use capture software, call recorder software, and he'll be able to record the entire Skype session, and then it'll be uploaded back to you so you can watch it back. We're not supporting any other system at the moment. So yes, Skype is the way to do it. So, I mean, it's free, so it's quite ubiquitous. So most people know about Skype and can use it. So that's why we've chosen it. The other reason as well is that it's got the best audio quality, because certainly if it's any of the sort of audio-related modules that you're on, your instructor will be sharing their screen and also sharing their door potentially. And after lots of research that we did, Skype's got the best audio quality. So, okay. So we're nearly getting to the end of this section, the forum section. Okay, so if you click on that, this is a two-way process, whereas the announcement section is a one-way process. This is where you can interact, and you'll find that your instructor will be posting lots of forum threads on this, and you'll be getting notifications of those. But you can actually reply to those as well, and please feel free to post in that yourself. So let's just give an example. So this student here has posted something, and it's actually about John Hopkins, amazing artist, and he's just posted a resident advisor link there. And Dan, the instructor, has responded back and with another fantastic link on BBC. So you can see how beneficial this is. And you might have a track coming out on a label, or there might be some great gig you're going to go to. You want to check out if any of your classmates want to go, if you're in the same country or the same town. So yeah, please use that, because that's really great. And then finally, we looked at that before, but the class list there, you can click on the plus sign to see who's in your class. Not forum, sorry, just click that wrong. There we go. Click on the classes, and you can see who's in your class and also where they are as well around the world. So this is one of the brilliant things about studying online, is you get to hang out with people from all around the world. I'm just going to have a quick breather to see if there's anything that I've missed.
Carl's got a question. Is it better to not run internet through the computer that I'm using for music production?
I suppose it depends on the computer you've got, how fast it is. I certainly do. As long as it's not, some people like to keep the two things separate.
Yeah.
I suppose there's the sort of social well-being aspect to it of the internet can be a big distraction.
Very true.
It's very easy, but on the other hand, it's also important when you're writing music or making music, producing music, to take regular breaks as well. And if taking a regular break is just having a quick flick through Facebook, then, you know, as long as you get the balance right, it's all right, you know.
Which is hard.
Yeah, exactly. I'm nearly finished. I know it's been quite a long session. There's a few things I just want to go back to. And I'm going to go back to just this, using the VLE section in the study essentials, which is where we started out actually, because I've just gone a bit freestyle here and I've just gone through everything. So I'm back to the study essentials using the VLE online students, and this section here, submitting your work. Please have a look at this, because this takes you through and also leads nicely on to what Brian is going to be talking about, the different types of assignments that you're going to be submitting. So it could be projects, it could also be written reports, spreadsheets, presentations. Sometimes you might be asked to give a screen capture presentation, which is going to look similar to some of the tutorial videos that you're looking at in the course. So there's some information there about those. But there's also information about how to export your track. A big problem that we have with some of the students is that they, when it comes to like a Logic or an Ableton project, when they save it, they're including all the factory samples and lots of unnecessary files, which even once they zip the file up, which is what you need to do to submit it, it's still a massive file. And the upload limit we have is 1 GB, which is quite a lot. So I would say please look at these videos here, because this will give you advice on how to optimize your projects so that you're not uploading massive files and unnecessarily large files. So please have a look through those. And this gives you information on the assignment upload page. Also, just quickly, back to the study essentials. There's also this guide here on video presentation essentials, which I just mentioned. So this gives you advice on some software that you need to actually do your video presentations, screen capture software. We use ScreenFlow, but there are some other free options, how to edit them, audio recording, exporting. If you've got any questions about that, please speak to your instructor who'll be able to help you out. So I think that's it for the time being. Shall I hand over to you, Bryony?
Yes.
Bryony's got a presentation, which I'm just going to load up now. And I'll just play that from the start. There we go. So I'll hand over to
Thank you.
Oh man, the...
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be questions.
Okay.
So yes, I'm Bryony and I'm Programme Coordinator. So I deal with all the exciting stuff like assignments and grades, extensions and whatnot. So yeah, I work within the education team. So yeah, just to explain the two different pathways you can take as a student, we have Middlesex accredited students and we also have professional students who are just studying practically. Both students will study the same course content. You'll both get one-to-ones. It's effectively exactly the same experience, apart from the Middlesex students, it's compulsory 100%, but you must submit your assignments, whereas for the professional and practical students, it's not actually compulsory. But we do recommend completing your assignments anyway, because it's great to get feedback, and that's also why you're here to learn, and assessments is a great way to make sure you're on track and whatnot. So that's the main difference. It's just basically around assessments. if you're a Middlesex accredited student, so if you're doing a CERT HE, a DIP HE or a BA, you need to do your assignments. And then, yeah, practical students, it's not compulsory, so it's entirely up to you. Engagement with the VLE. This is something that we are very passionate about, and it will make a massive difference to your experience at point blank. We often find if students don't engage with the VLE, don't read the course content. I mean, obviously we do understand everyone's busy and you'll all have jobs and families and whatnot. But if you don't engage with the VLE, you won't be getting much out of the course. And that's the same for the one-to-ones as well. And we do track this. So anyone who isn't accessing the course notes or hasn't been attending their one-to-ones, we'll just reach out to just to make sure everything's okay, if we can support them with anything. And particularly if you're a Middlesex student, you're accredited, it does come into play when it comes to resubmissions, because we do take into account how much you've engaged with the course and whether you've, put the effort in when it comes to resubmissions, and that will come into effect with how much you might have to pay to resubmit. But that's only for accredited students. So if you're just studying practically, it's completely fine. So course structure. This is like an overall of the BA. So we have the level 4 modules, the level 5 modules, and the level 6 modules. If you're on the full BA, your level 4 modules, so introduction to production, sound engineering, music composition, etc., they don't count towards your final qualification, but it's really important that you pass those in order to progress. If you do fail one of those modules, you won't be able to go onto your level 5 modules. And if you are on the BA, it's your level 5 and your level 6 which will contribute to your qualification. So whatever grade you get in them will be what determines what you get overall for your BA. So yeah, each module we do is worth 20 credits, so every module is equal. And yeah, so as I said, it's just really important for you to hand your assignments in if you're accredited, otherwise you won't be able to progress. And if you do fail more than 4 times, so that's submission, resubmission, submission and resubmission, we do have to comply with Middlesex rules and you will be removed from the accredited pathway, but hopefully it won't come to that. So that's the overall course structure. So assessments procedure. So weeks 1 to 9 is when you will be having your masterclasses, your one-to-ones, accessing the course notes, hopefully learning everything you need to ahead of the assessment deadline. And at the end of week 9, normally there's the odd module, which is week 10, but I'd say about 90% will be at the end of week 9 on the Sunday at midnight. All assignments must be uploaded to the VLE, and that's for accredited and non-accredited. I did mention earlier, if you're non-accredited, it's not 100% compulsory, but I do think it's important for you to get feedback on your work and just build a portfolio. But yeah, for accredited students at Middlesex, it's really important that you hit that deadline. And then if for some reason you fail to submit or you receive less than 40%, you will need to resubmit, and that is at the end of week 11. So you have 1 full week to work on your resubmission, and then you hand in at the end of week 11. If you are resubmitting, the grade is capped at 40%. So obviously we try and make sure that you don't have to resubmit and everything's in at that week 9 deadline. And then yes, so we have our internal moderation, where our internal moderators will look at a certain amount of work from each class just to make sure the marking's standard and everything's okay. And then those grades are also taken to an assessment board, which we have with external examiners. And then once all the grades are okayed, we'll release them at the end of week 12 ahead of the next term if you are studying the next term. Extenuating circumstances. So if for some reason there's some personal circumstances affecting your studies, or you never know what's going to happen in life, either talk to myself or Ollie, who his email will be up later, and we will deal with that on a case-by-case basis. It's really important that you come to us before the deadline. I know that's not necessarily always going to be the case, but if in the lead up to assessments you're going from some personal circumstances or there's something affecting you handing in your work on time, please let us know before the deadline, because once that deadline's gone, especially if you're an accredited student, there's nothing we can really do for you. Examples of extensions that we can grant, obviously health reasons, personal circumstances and whatnot. Ones we can't grant in terms of accredited students, because we have to comply with Middlesex guidelines, is things like work commitments or software crashing or losing work. We can't actually grant extensions for those reasons. But yes. Any questions?
I've got a question here from Dwayne Edwards.
Yeah.
Who says, can any of the professional coursework count towards HE later if I decide to study for the BA?
Yes. So as long as you hand your assignments in and you get a grade, there is a potential that you can APEL, which is Accredited Prior Learning, it's called, onto a accredited course. That is only if you've handed your grades in and you've engaged with the course and whatnot. We have done that in the past. So yeah, you can take those credits and upgrade onto the BA if you wish to.
Lovely. And there was also a question, I'll just quickly mention this. Summer J said, with regards to genres, you say you can submit in any genre. Are there any genres teachers will struggle to grade based on lack of experience with that genre? And I replied just saying that basically all our instructors are very experienced in a wide range of genres. So she'll get valuable feedback in whatever genre it is. So it certainly won't go against the grade.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay, so student representatives. At Point Blank, we really value student feedback. And we have both online student representatives and college student reps. And we have a board called the Board of Studies, which is where we gain all feedback from course content to student experience to assessments, and we sit down with some of the staff here and externals at Middlesex and whatnot, and we'll discuss the feedback and see how we can improve things. So it's actually a really important role. We normally have around 5 for online and 5 for college, and we are definitely looking for more. So if you are interested in being a student representative, I'd say the job involves collating feedback from your fellow students once a term, so once every 12 weeks, and then you will come to the Board of Studies via Skype normally, because obviously you're all around the world, and that would be like a 2-hour meeting maybe. But it's just a great way of making sure that the student voice is heard, and you know we really do want to make sure that the students are having a good time, because that's why we're here, and obviously making sure they're having a really good learning experience. So if you are interested in becoming a student rep, if you just email Ollie at pointblankmusicschool.com and he will be in touch. Communication, I think Ski touched on this as well. It's really important that as your online students that you do communicate with staff, instructors on a regular basis, and you can do this any way that suits you. Emailing if you have any problems or there's anything to do with the course, make sure you email your instructor. If there's anything to do with grades, assessments, email me. I'm more than happy to help. You know, I will respond as soon as possible, so just make sure you communicate with me. Announcements as well, they're really useful, so make sure you've got your notifications on, because a lot of good information will be posted in those announcements from the education team and from your instructors. Forum posts, it's a great way to talk to your other classmates, share music, share ideas, ask any questions. I did put on the little chat before as well about the Facebook group. It's called Point Blank Music School London, and it's a closed group, and it's for our online and our college students, and it's just a great place to network, talk to other students, share music, and most importantly probably collaborate, because there'll be people who are into the same sort of genres as you, and whatnot. Any questions regarding assignments, anything to do with Middlesex and your accreditation? I'm the Institute Link Tutor, so I deal with Middlesex on a daily basis. I kind of communicate with them, and anything to do with extenuating circumstances, attendance, any support you might need, please do not hesitate to contact either Ollie at pointblankmusicschool.com or me, and we'd be more than happy to help. And that is it from me. Any questions?
One question from Rich. I'm not sure if we can answer this actually. He says, if you APL, is the cost of the current completed course discounted from the cost of the HE course?
I am not aware of that, to be honest. That would be more of a sales question. But I can ask and find out. If you email support at pointblankmusicschool.com, they'll be able to answer that. I'm not really sure about the ins and outs of it.
Yeah, okay. I suppose you should mention plugged in as well.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. There's a couple of things. Should we swap again?
Swap.
Okay. Let's just shoot back here. So you'll see there's a link here. You might have already checked this out already. Plugged in. This is our own Point Blank social network. So this is not exclusively for Point Blank students. It's open, which is actually a great thing. But please have a look out there, because there's always competitions that are posted, remix competitions and things. Sometimes these get really, really popular. So it's a great way to interact, and there's loads of stuff there that you can check out as a chat room and production hub. And if it's really good if you want to learn about collaborating and all that kind of thing. Check that out. There's also the label Point Blank Music.
Yes.
So that's very active. We're just about to release the second track on the label. So there's loads of promotion that's going into that. That's definitely an opportunity for you. So please make sure that you submit. There is a link somewhere. I need to find out exactly where that is. But
you go on the website and go on about.
About, okay.
And then
Point Blank record label. Yeah. There we go. Point Blank Recordings. So yeah, check that out. It's got the first signing there. I'm sure they're going to be putting information about the latest release as well, so you can check that out. But I think that's about it. We've come up to pretty much exactly an hour now.
Yeah.
Any more questions?
No?
Maybe
just a few.
Any final questions, please post that. We will, as I said at the start, we'll be archiving this. We just got to figure out. I might leave it. We might leave it on the YouTube channel, but then also put it onto the VLE into the section there as well, so you can watch it back if you need to. But we're always here for any questions, so please feel free. And I hope you have a fantastic experience studying at Point Blank. Yeah, great.
Maybe we could just stay on the chat a bit longer, and we can always close, because it'll still be there, won't it?
It should be, yeah. So yeah, exactly. So we'll keep the chat open for a little bit. Well, yeah, you can stay on it, and we'll stop broadcasting. But yeah, thank you very much, guys, and
thank you.
speak to you soon.